Hi guys, good morning. So this is chapter 20 and we are looking at how we manage shares and securities for individuals. So shares are assets that are subject to capital gains. We're just going to look through a few scenarios. So let's jump right in. So we will just look at those shares that are exempt, or those sort of financial instruments, if you like, that are exempt. So typically, there are certain particular shares and securities that are exempt. This we remember discussing even during personal tax, that everything related to ISAs are exempt. And of course, to encourage government borrowing, so to speak, encourage people investing in government shares and government stock, you can imagine why politically that would be exempt, as well as, if you like, enabling companies to raise finance. So we've seen these again, this idea of qualifying corporate bonds, and typically we're really talking about bonds fundamentally raised, if you like, here in the UK to encourage UK companies raising money on the stock market via bond issues. As opposed to share issues. So these are the exempt items. Now, in terms of valuation, let's jump right in. So typically, again, so here we can have businesses, small businesses, companies, private companies, of course, as well, where we're dealing with their shares as well. So I think it's important to be clear as to, it's not always, you would always be given, if you have unquoted shares, you'll always be given the market value of the shares. So no, we're not just dealing with shares that are on the stock market. If we are dealing with quoted shares, we're also interested in the market value. Now, of course, every day, the market will list, if you like, a buying price and a selling price. And what we want is the mid price, if you like, the average price. I mean, we're just doing this for practice. So typically, it's the average price that we would take on the disposal date in order to calculate the capital gains tax, because as you can imagine, this would have fluctuated over the period. So we need something of an average price. So the average price is literally what's, if you like, the midway price. So we literally, if you like, do the tier 280 plus 296 divided by 2. And that, in effect, is the price we will use. So that's 280 plus 296 divided by 2. That's 288p. So 288p, if you like, as the price of each of these shares. So the value of the shares transferred. So if you like, 10,000 at £2.88. So yeah. Is 28,800. Great, and we have that. So that's kind of the first thing. So that's just the valuation, which is pretty straight, nothing crazy. Now the next rule here is this idea of matching shares. Yeah, so this idea of share matching works like this. So typically, what the whole aim here is, if we could, we would think of it like inventory, and we have first in, first out. So what we want to try and do as best as we can is match the cost of certain inventory with the sale of that particular inventory. But everything gets mixed up by virtue of them just being shares. So for example, so what they then decide to say is, okay, listen, shares of the same class and the same company are not distinguishable from each other. The prices will vary on different days. Okay, so what they then decide to do is say, okay, look, okay, this is how we're going to deal with this. In order to work out the allowable cost to use in CGT computation, in a way, it's a halfway meeting point of how do we almost mix FIFO and AVCO, if you like. Disposals of the shares are matched with acquisitions in the following order. Acquisitions on the same day as the disposal. So for example, if you buy shares on Monday and you sell those same shares on Monday, yes, you may already have stock, so to speak, in-house, but we deal with these literally because we want to kind of identify like with like. So we deal with that, if you like, on the same day. Now, I'll just jump to this bit here, number 3, and I'll come back to number 2 in a second, the share pool. So imagine we had bought a lot of stock over many, many years. We can't really, I mean, it's a lot of hard work matching. If we bought stock in June 1983, matching it, we now sell it, if you like, in 2020. Now matching it like for like is tricky, so we just mix all of the shares past be in a certain date, like in an AVCO way. So kind of like think AVCO here, think kind of like FIFO or on the same day. Right, that's the general principle, and you'll see once you start doing examples, it does kind of come out pretty straight. This one here, acquisitions within the following 30 days on a FIFO. So what we're saying here is that if you bought some shares, in terms of matching, trying to identify, the argument here is that if you buy shares, say on the 5th of January, after matching on the same day, you also want to match these shares with the next 30 days. And I'll talk about that in a second. But the whole idea is you would look for 30 days and say, well, these shares that I bought here, I want to match them with the sale of shares over the next, well, with the acquisition of shares. I want to match them with shares over the following 30 days. And let me explain what's going on here. I'll just go back to this bit here. So shares acquired within 30 days. It does seem strange that a disposal is matched with acquisitions following the date of the sale. And this is to counter a practice known as bed and breakfasting. So really, this is people trying to take advantage of their capital gain. Let me just, or capital allowances, or annual exemption allowances. Let me kind of take you back here and kind of work through a little kind of. I'm just going to go to a blank page just to show you why this seems a bit odd, and you'll see why again what I mean. Imagine right that you bought some shares for. I'm just going to use some classic numbers so you can see what's going on here. Imagine you bought there was some shares going for £11.70. You can see why. You can probably start to guess why I'm using this number. So you have these shares A for £11.70, and you buy 1,000 of them. Right? You buy 1,000 of them. Whatever. You buy them in January. Okay, great. So now you have spent 11,700. So that's your cost. Okay, great. Now imagine during the year. So imagine that imagine during the year, just before April, because you're allowed your annual allowance, right? Every financial year. So this might be January. Yeah, actually, I'll make it 18, January 18. So that imagine that by say the 30th of March 18, the shares have actually doubled. So say, for example, now these shares are actually worth what's £11.70 times 2 is £23.40. Imagine the shares are now worth £23.40. So now your shares are now worth 23,400. Now, if you think about it, you have an annual exemption every year of 11,700. And you're sitting there thinking, I have an idea. What I will do is this. I will sell the shares, if you like, just before the 5th of April. So say for the 5th of April, 2018. So you sell the shares, 23,400. It costs you 11,700. You have a gain of 11,700. That allows you to use your annual exemption of 11,700. You have paid no tax. Brilliant. Now you have cash of 23,400, right? Because you sold the shares. What do? You literally buy the shares again the very next day. So you've literally acquired the shares again. So you now have shares again, 1,000 shares at £23.40. Imagine the next year, 5th of April 2019, the shares go up by, I'm just going to keep it at that same amount, £11.70. So you now have shares worth £35.10. You sell them straight away again, and if you like, 35 100 minus 23,400 gives you 11,700. You use your annual exemption again, AE, 11,700, and you know. So you can imagine HMRC are not happy about this because you are literally recycling, or if you like, washing these shares to ensure that you kind of make sure that you avoid paying any tax on them. And HMRC don't like this. So the argument is that as far as they're concerned, what's really going on is a type of laundering. So in effect, yes, so that's why they then argue that what you should do is that a disposal. Yes, you disposed of the shares. You might have disposed of the shares here on the 5th of April 2018, but we want you to match those with the future acquisition, which was literally the next day, because we believe that's really the case. So really, that's the point of that whole idea. And there might be other reasons you're trying to basically take advantage of the annual exemption, and then or maybe use a loss or whatever sort. But this is enough, I think, to highlight the fact that we always look forward 30 days after looking forward on the same day. Okay, great. And I think that's kind of, yeah. So now I can go back to dealing with the process of managing this. So this is more, again, like I say, an avoidance. This is to prevent avoidance of tax. Or evasion of tax, I should say. Evasion of tax. Right, so let's kind of do this example, and then because that will take us to 15 minutes in terms of the lesson. But now I hope you're happy with why we kind of do the 30-day look forward. Right, so example 2, here, like I said, we have here, this just wants to know, identify which acquisition the share sold will be matched with, what the match is. So here I bought this in 1993, 97, 98, 2002. All of this would just go into one big pool. It's all a while ago, one big AVCO pool. Here, I bought some shares on the 19th. I sold some shares, if you like, on the 15th of December. So the first thing I would want to ask is, did I buy any on the 15th of December? No. Then I would look forward 30 days. So potentially what we're really arguing, what HMRC are arguing, is that potentially some of these shares you just sold are the same ones you're buying again, because you're trying to prevent or avoid tax. So we must match, identify like with like. So therefore, we would match 300 of these shares. So the first set of shares we would have, if you like, shares on the same day. We don't have any. Shares 30 days ahead, we have 300. And then the other 920 shares will come from this pool, right? So think of keeping a register. You have 100, 900, 350, 270. So 920 will come out of this pool, and the other 300 will be these ones that you bought in advance, but you're in effect, that you acquired in advance, that you sold later, but in effect you are matching the forward 300 that you bought with the sale behind it. So that's kind of how we deal with it. So we have 1,620 shares left, and that's how we manage it. So 300 from here and 920 from here, right? And that's how we deal with that. And then we'll look at keeping the register from the next question in the next video. But the big points really here are this, what you want to remember. You just always just watch out for it. Just deal with these two first, and then we will then start to treat this on an AVCO basis, if you like. Okay, great stuff. See you in the next video.